Hey, it's Niamh here, and here is my poem Photostory 3. I hope you enjoy it. So in my poem, A Nightmare, it's an ordinary to extraordinary poem, and even though it's about when I moved to Vienna, it talks about how I felt in a totally different way, like a nightmare. And for the brainstorming, I obviously had to remember how I felt, and I wrote that down. And then for the final product, I made the lines shorter, so it gave more meaning to the whole poem, and I used big line breaks and white spaces also for the meaning in that math. Okay, so a nightmare. Sometimes I feel alone in this world. I wish my dreams and hopes would come true, but they don't. Never, ever, ever. Only my nightmares and fears have become reality, and I'm still alone in this world, a real nightmare. So in this poem, Those Bright Blue Eyes, the focus was a very important thing for me to do. That it's about someone special who I lost, who died, and what I thought about was her bright blue eyes, and that inspired me to write this poem, actually. And to make the poem more interesting, I used like sparkliest and dreadful and happiness, those sort of words, and I think it really helped. And this poem is something that will help me remember the person I lost, because she was a very important person in my life. Okay, those bright blue eyes. Those bright blue eyes, I remember, used to fill the days with happiness. Lovely Lenny, that's how I'll always remember her. Lenny was the sparkless star in the moonlit sky, always there to make you happy. Until that dreadful Tuesday night, there was no more light in those bright blue eyes, and the sparkless star in the sky slowly and painfully faded away. Goodbye. So in my poem Poetry Hides, I started off with a poem about where poetry hides that was really short, and it wasn't really fun. It wasn't a fun poem, so I decided to make it longer, and I added some stuff about the laundry closet and the pencil at the beginning, and then I added that at the end because I thought it wrapped the whole poem up like a story. And then also I added a bit of humour in there, so it was more interesting for the reader or listener. And yeah, this is my poem, Where Poetry Hides. Poetry hides right under my nose, like a mystery, just waiting to be solved. But not everyone knows how to find it. You just have to look here, there, and well, anywhere. It may not hide under your nose, but maybe under your eyes, the lead of your pencil, or even the deepest, darkest depths of the forbidden laundry closet. So keep your eyes peeled for what may come your way. Just take a quick look at that pencil of yours before you start to write, and go investigate that in that forbidden laundry closet, because poetry can hide anywhere. So my poem, Magical Music, is an ordinary to extraordinary poem because I think it thinks about music in a totally different way. And how I wrote this poem was, first of all, I brainstormed how I felt about music, and then what I did was I changed it into a totally different way. Like I did it so I was like talking to someone else about how I felt, not talking to myself like I normally would. And in this poem I used big line breaks and white spaces so that the reader fully understands how I feel about music and that it's really important to me. Okay, so magical music. It's like the whole world has stopped spinning because of that lovely, smooth sound. It actually makes you stop and forget about your troubles and worries. So then all you do is relax, take a deep breath, and start all over again. So this is my borrowing poem, So Much Depends Upon. And in the process of writing this, I was thinking about the Jews in the concentration camps and how they must have felt, because if I was probably one of them, all my face would have gone to something important, and that probably for me would have been like the Star of David, because it was religious and very important, to the Jews and stuff. And for the drafting, I wrote all I knew about the discrimination of the Jews, and that was sort of my brainstorming, more or less. And then I turned it into a really short poem, and there were some words I didn't like the and a and then, and I took them out and to make it shorter, so to me it had more meaning. And then for the final copy, I was really pleased with my sort of draft, so I kept it that way. But I also used line breaks and white spaces, because I think it's important that the reader properly understands this poem, because this was definitely one of my favourites. So here goes. So much depends upon the star of David. So this is my guess what poem, and first of all, I used similes to make it more interesting and to describe what my poem is about. And then, but for the revision and stuff like that, for brainstorming, I started off with a 6-room poem, and then I changed it into a guess what poem. And first of all, for the brainstorming, I came up with loads of comparisons, and I wrote them all down, and as I was writing, I made this whole paragraph of really good ideas, and I wrote this one idea, and then it led to loads of other ones. And that's actually what my poem is. It's all these ideas that I made into a poem, and I sort of revised it from there to have the final copy. Okay, guess what? It zaps mistakes out of life like a magic wand that all fairies have in fairy tales. But with this thing, it can get complicated, because in life there are many mistakes and things that won't go away. But what will disappear next time? Who knows when the next mistake will be made on paper? So did you know what that poem was about? Well, guess what? It was about a razor. So this is my guess what poem, and for the meaning of this poem, I used a metaphor and lots of similes to show how, to show the proper meaning. But also in the revision, I started off with a 6-room poem, and I found lots of comparisons and delicious words, and I put them together, just simply put them together, and then I revised it, and I put different sentences and different lines in different places and stuff like that, and then I was happy with it. So here's the final product. Guess what? They are like best friends, moving along with you every step of the way. But soon they become a soul of support. They travel along with you in all different shapes and sizes, through dust and dirt, leaving memories behind, but they grip onto you, as they shall do, until you grow out of them. Guess what? I was talking about shoes. So that was my photo story. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!